The Prime Minister says he's putting money into every aspect of the criminal justice system, but will his... let's discuss that. I'm joined from central London by Rory Geoghegan, who's head of criminal justice at the Centre for Social Justice, and from Southampton by Campbell Robb, who's chief executive at the social justice charity Nacro. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, gentlemen. Let's just begin with this question. What do you both make of Boris Johnson's promises on more prison places, more prisons and more security in prisons?
Well, I think that we all want to see crime reduced and less victims of crime. That's a given, and public support for that is very high. I'm afraid that all of the evidence that we see every day and over many years shows that this type of intervention just isn't going to work. We've got longer sentences, and we have had for a number of years. We put more people in prison than just about anywhere else in Europe, in England and Wales. Our reoffending rates, however, still really high, and people who commit crimes are generally reoffend. We've got a broken system. We need to fix it, but I'm afraid this isn't the way that we think that we can do this.
Right, but I mean, what is the way then? What is the way to make this work?
Well, I think what we want to see, and it is welcome that the Prime Minister is backing making jails safer and securer. That's absolutely clear. We need to that. I've been visiting prisons for the last month, and in young offender institutes, they need to be safer and secure. But when people are in prison, we need to give them the best chance that when they come out, that they have a best chance at a second chance. We want to reduce reoffending. We want people to come back into the community, to get jobs, to have homes, and to give something back to society after they've paid the price that they need to for the crime that they've committed. Yeah. That involves education, drugs rehabilitation, a whole range of work that needs to happen alongside safer and secure jails.
Yeah, let's give Rory Geoghegan a chance to come in.
Sure. So, I mean, look, the government have got a huge mountain to climb on law and order and crime and justice. You know, for the best part of a decade now, we've seen various changes that have been for the worse. You know, look at the probation reforms that unfortunately have failed. Look at, obviously, the absolute state of many of our prisons. And so, from the Centre for Social Justice perspective, we welcome, actually, many of the announcements in the last few days. I mean, it's actually refreshing to see a government spend, over a series of days, a lot of time actually talking about the need to get our broken system. And Campbell was right to describe it as broken. I don't think anyone who spends much time in our prisons or out with probation or out with police would describe it as anything other. But I think it's a bit of a red herring to sort of deny the value of these important announcements. I mean, it's only Tuesday evening. I'm very hopeful, and certainly the CSJ in the past has been campaigning on the need for all of the other elements that we need. But it's crucial that we get safety and security back to our prisons. Tackling the supply of drugs in is vital. We know from places like Norway that actually prisons, when operated properly, when operated effectively, when they're focused on things like employment and, crucially, as Campbell has said, you know, that re-entry into society is crucial. And of course, basically, what we need to hear more. So far as we're concerned, so good. But we do need to hear much more on the detail and the rest of the system.
Yeah, and Campbell Robb, I mean, that is the issue, isn't it? These high levels of violence, drug use, self-harm. None of what Boris Johnson is saying he'll spend actually gets to grip with that.
Not, it doesn't yet, but making them safe and secure is a good thing, and we welcome that. Some of the announcements over the last couple of days around increasing sentencing, sending people away for longer. If we haven't got prisons that are fit for purpose, that are actually doing what we need them to do, which is locking people up, but also giving them the chance at rebuilding their lives. Many people who go into are homeless when they go into prison and homeless when they come out. They need to be given skills and training, and if we don't get that investment, I'm hopeful that this is. I agree, absolutely. We need to see criminal justice system right at the front. It's broken. It's not doing what any of us in society want. It's not stopping more crime. It's not stopping people reoffending. And if we all work together, we can make this better. But let's take the rhetoric out. Let's get down to the facts and to the hard stuff that we know that works and makes a real difference to people's lives.
I mean, Rory Geoghegan, I mean, more prison places, more prisons themselves, longer sentences. Isn't that more of what we know doesn't work?
Well, I don't think that's quite right, actually. I mean, if you look at the reality at the moment. We've got woefully low, and those aren't my words, they're the words of the Met Police Commissioner, woefully low detection rates. So the proportion of crimes being solved is below 1 in 10. It's the lowest, I believe, since records began. So what we can expect with 20,000 more police officers on the streets, and we do need them, there are parts of our country, unfortunately, that are being terrorised by violence, by antisocial behaviour and other crime. And what we can expect, therefore, and what we should expect from a well-functioning police and prosecution is obviously to see the detection rate increase. Because what we do know is actually the risk of detection is far more impactful on things than sentence length. And so we can expect over time to see more offenders being caught, brought to justice, victims getting justice. And so we do vitally need those additional prison spaces.
OK, Campbell, just a final word. I mean, isn't what's needed more community services to help those coming out of prison prevent them from going back in?
You're right. All the evidence suggests that shorter sentences don't work and that community sentencing has a real place to play. But we need the infrastructure. We need people working in and out of prison. We need community services. We need the reforms to probation, which the government are currently pushing through, have the potential to make a real difference if they carry on with them. So you're absolutely right. Prison needs to work, but most importantly, it needs to work to get people out and give them the chance of a new life when they come out.
OK, 20 seconds, Rory Geoghegan.
I mean, look, obviously we need everything from the very to tackle school exclusions. We need to support families to stay together. We need to tackle the root causes of crime even before people come onto the radar of the police. And then crucially, once people do come onto that radar, we need to do everything in our power to tackle it. And I think the recent announcements are a good first step, and we need to